There's a brand new chapter in the legal saga for President Trump's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. An appeals court will now reconsider the Department of Justice's order to drop the criminal case against Flynn. So what happens next here? Let's talk about it more with House Intelligence Ranking Member, California Republican Devin Nunes. Great to see you, Congressman. I want to get straight to it because a lot of folks are looking at this decision as sort of a win for Judge Sullivan, who does not want to allow the Department of Justice to drop the case here.
Yeah, look, we're really in uncharted territories, and you said it exactly right, and I'll put it a different way. This is a never-ending story. I think what they're trying to do here, they know this has never been done, the judges know this has never been done, but this is a court that's overwhelmingly Democrat, very left-wing appointees. And what they're trying to do is stall and stall and stall. And so I think a couple things could intercede here. One could be that Durham or another U.S. attorney comes up with indictments. The second thing is that there could be more evidence that could show up. As you may recall, it was the House Republicans who first learned that the agents didn't believe that Flynn was lying. And that's evidence that we had in early 2017, not to mention all the problems with the Mueller team. The Mueller team's being investigated. This Flynn case has been investigated. It's been dismissed by the Department of Justice. No American should be treated like this, especially a war hero. A war hero, one of our nation's greatest generals that we've had in this country, who was set up and framed by his own government working with the Democratic Party.
In addition to what you mentioned, we even have the emails from Susan Rice that talk about conversations that went on with President Obama and Joe Biden present, that they knew exactly what was happening here and they wanted to proceed, even though they knew there really was no case against Mr. Flynn.
Yeah, it's rather frightening. I think all Americans need to understand those dates. Those dates are really key. General Flynn's the incoming national security advisor. They already have him under investigation in 2016 for a totally an investigation that was, with no predicate whatsoever. We know it was a setup by the Democratic Party, supposedly getting information from Russians that they were feeding into the FBI. We knew the FBI cops were corrupt. Then speed up past the election. I think that was just kind of a dirty trick that they were trying to play during the October time frame before the 2016 election. Then come the date that you were mentioning. That date's a critical date because that's clearly where Obama and Biden are directly involved, and it comes a day after the FBI themselves, even the dirty cops who were involved in this thing, had tried to dismiss and get rid of this case. And drop the case, the counterintelligence case against General Flynn. So somehow, I think Obama and Biden have some explaining to do, and we'll see if Biden ever comes out of his basement to actually answer these questions.
Right, and the public would certainly need to hear about that, especially ahead of an election. You talk about additional evidence, so I want to discuss these texts from the former FBI director, Andrew McCabe. The DOJ has agreed to release them. What do you think that it's going to show us? It's going to show that he leaked sensitive information and that he misled the investigators.
Well, look, we have long been missing a lot of text messages. We had to fight as Republicans. We had to fight over and over and over again to get text messages. Don't forget, a bunch of text messages actually disappeared. The Inspector General Horowitz was able to find some of them. But still, there's a lot that are not out there. And my question always is who's holding these text messages up? The Republicans in the House have had a long-going investigation. We have 2 senators having an investigation in the Senate. Why are these texts not being provided to Congress so that the public can know before this election? I think time is critical here.
All right, let's broaden this out a little bit because you brought up John Durham, and everybody is waiting on pins and needles to see what his investigation finds. Attorney General Barr said we should have some kind of result possibly by the end of the summer, before the summer is over. Do you think that will help further the ball so that people can actually understand what went on here in the Russia probe? I mean, forget the fact that the Mueller report cost taxpayers $38 million.
Well, and let me bring you back to just a couple days ago, right here in Washington, D.C., in our nation's capital. You had the Attorney General testifying where Democrats continue to just attack, and not let him answer any questions. Why was that happening? That was happening because They're trying to smear the Attorney General because they are scared and worried about what Durham is going to uncover. Because look, this is not hard to figure out. House Republicans have made 14 criminal referrals. That means we have enough evidence where we felt that we could make these referrals that have several people that are involved in these referrals. So there's ample evidence, not to mention what may come with what Durham may be able to dig up, like the text messages that you mentioned that Congress never received.
Okay, with respect to what you're talking about, Attorney General William Barr, his testimony before Congress, I want everybody to watch this.
I gave instructions as to what the...
my time.
Yeah, I'm answering your question.
Well, you got to let him answer.
Reclaiming my time.
The gentleman's time is
We were calling attention to the fact...
Will you restore my time because this witness is speaking over my time?
Does it have to do
Barr,
with
I
quibbling
will get to
over-
that. Reclaiming my time. You answered the question.
He said he found...
Reclaiming my time without political bias.
He said he
and in
found
April,
evidence.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Attorney. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time, Mr. Barr.
Substances.
Attorney General, reclaiming my time.
When people resist law enforcement, they're not peaceful.
Reclaiming my time. I'm surprised at your lack of respect.
That it is not a self-defining term as they
You've only got 2 minutes, sir.
that they recognized.
Mr. Barr, if I may.
Yeah, but this is a hearing. I thought I was the one that was supposed to be heard.
I just wanted to play that, Congressman Nunes, because it shows everybody exactly what happened on the Hill the other day. And I want to ask you one final question, because you were on with my colleague Maria Bartiromo, and you were talking about the Steele dossier in general and the sources used to furnish that Steele dossier. We're finding out that one of the sources was not a Russian national. He was somebody that lived here and worked very closely with the Brookings Institute, which happens to be a left-wing think tank.
Yeah, that's so, like we started this interview talking about the never-ending story. This is a whole new chapter. We have long suspected that the Brookings Institute was heavily involved in that. Why did we suspect that? Because we knew the president at the time was disseminating the dossier. We had evidence, people who had told us that on the record. Also, they had stood up this propaganda machine that was constantly smearing myself and my colleagues. Now they're on to Attorney General Barr, and so this was kind of a propaganda arm that was stood up, and they were always defending the dirty cops. It always struck us as rather odd. So taking those two pieces of information, now you add on to it the fact that we were always led to believe, the investigators were led to believe there were 3 Russians that we were looking for, supposedly, and the main source supposedly was this Russian whose life was in danger. We had people who testified to Congress that that was the case, that his life was in danger. Well, it ends up he was just living right a couple miles away from where I stand right now. He's just a political hack. He'd worked at a left-wing think tank. His only tie to Russia was that he was born there. And I assume that he can speak Russian. But other than that, he's just another swamp creature living here in the swamp that was actually working for Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele was working for who through a couple cutouts? The Democratic National Committee and the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Congressman Nunes, with that, we'll say thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you for helping us also parse through this. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.